Hello everyone and welcome back to Through the Dragon Glass. We are on Chapter 10 of The Secrets of the Federal Reserve by Eustace Mullins, The Money Creators Part 2. Before we get started, I want everyone to hit that thumbs up, notification bell. Please leave a comment. It's very easy and it will help me out a lot, and tell a friend about me. Alright guys, let's get started. The Federal Reserve's discount is the percentage of interest the Federal Reserve charges banks. Though the rate often changes, there has never been a sufficient explanation regarding what determines the rate and why it fluctuates as it does.
Why?
It is without a doubt the New York bankers influence and manipulate the Federal Reserve discount rate. In 1928, the Federal Reserve showed its true colors when during a secret luncheon with the Federal Reserve Board and European central bankers, they planned the Great Depression of 1929. The Federal Reserve Board has many ties with European bankers who have never been held accountable for their actions.
I didn't do it.
The Federal Reserve Board and others were able to buy private stock, giving them the ability to use the Fed financially. The Fed gives the stockholders absolute control over the U.S. economy and mobilizes a nation's credit to a foreign financer. The National Act of 1864 did not permit banks to lend their credit. This way of banking was made legal under the Edge Amendment of 1919. The Edge Amendment authorizes the organization of corporations expressly for edging in international or foreign banking or other international or foreign financial operations, including the dealings in gold or bullion and the holding of stock in foreign corporations. The Federal Reserve proved to be able to influence international trade and finances. It also has been a direct cause of war and poverty.
Move it, don't cook! Don't cook, you too, come on. Keep your eyes open, clean. I got you, Chief.
Trade acceptances are the currency that is used for international trading. Until the Federal Reserve came along, trade acceptances were completely unknown to many. The men who set up the Federal Reserve were all international bankers who wanted acceptance banks for profit. Before, the Federal Reserve banks used the money of gold to other countries to cause panicking and money shortages. They would buy the gold back for a profit, but the Federal Reserve should have ended money crises as the Fed can just print more money.
Louder! Show me the money! I need to feel you, Jerry! Show me the money! Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money!
Fear is a powerful tool used to control the masses, and the Fed needs that fear to profit off our country. The two biggest examples are the agricultural depression caused by state banks not joining the Federal Reserve and the Great Depression, which centralized the majority of power to a few men, even though the Fed was advertised to stop money panics from happening. A trade acceptance is a time draft or bill of exchange for the amount of a specific purchase drawn by the seller on the buyer, bearing the buyer's acceptance and often noting the place of payment, such as a bank. Trade acceptance, when used in the wholesale market, allow for short-term use of credit for storing, transportation of goods, and marketing. Trade acceptances were used seldomly during the Civil War, but an open book system was preferred by the American people. An open book account used a debt certificate with only the debtor's name on it. Trade acceptances have both the creditor's and debtor's name on the certificate, making it possible to sell the debt as a commodity and were bought by other banks. Under the open book system, the debt is a liability to the creditor, but with a acceptance trade, the debt is an asset. The open book gives a cash discount and allows for extension on debt.
Listen, you just gotta give me more time. Don't make a fool out of me, man. Don't make a fool out of me. I want my money. I want my money, man.
Trade acceptances give a credit discount and are removed from the seller and given to a trade acceptance bank, which don't allow an extension of time. Trade acceptances accelerated the Great Depression by destroying small businesses because they could not receive extensions on their debt. Paul Warburg, who was the inspiration for Daddy Warbucks in the Little Orphan Annie comic strip, was the leader in banking secured control over billions of dollars in credits that would no longer be used as open book credit. Through the trade acceptances, debt was used to create money. Large holders of trade acceptances had billions of dollars at their disposal, not including the interest that was collected.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Paul Warburg and other bankers slowly gained control over all credit in the United States. It is no wonder that Warburg made several speeches encouraging the Federal Reserve to invest in trade acceptances. During the First World War, trade acceptances jumped to $400 million in 1917, and in the 1920s, $1 billion a year until the Great Depression in 1929. By then, bankers had gotten what they wanted, control over business and industry in the United States, and no longer needed trade acceptances as large companies had control over credit. After the Great Depression, trade acceptances decreased and low-interest direct loans increased. A large amount of time, effort, and money was used to push trade acceptance propaganda. The Federal Reserve National Association of Credit Men, the American Bankers Association, and other organizations used propaganda to help convince the American people bankers were not doing anything wrong.
I didn't do it.
In 1922, Louis T. McFadden, chairman of the House Banking and Currency Committee, called for a congressional investigation into the Federal Reserve. Congress did not care or were too corrupt to investigate. I want to thank everyone for listening. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up, notification bell, leave a comment, and tell a friend about me. I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks.